Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Vital Healing Kitchen show for the month of June 2017. And I'm Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo, and I'm very excited to welcome you to my kitchen where I get to have lots of fun with healthy, beautiful, nutritious foods. And you get to watch and learn how to empower yourself to, in your own life, create masterpieces in the kitchen that don't take very long to do and nourish you instead of harm you. So a lot of the food that we eat on a general basis, the standard American diet, as it's called the SAD diet, is loaded with foods that denourish you, if that's a word, that actually throw you out of balance. So today's topic is about brain food. And that may seem like an odd topic to be going over, but so many times I hear from people that they just can't maintain their focus, that they're starting to lose their memory, and they're young and they're having what they call senior moments. And quite frankly, seniors shouldn't have senior moments either, but that's a whole nother story. So in our Vital Health community, we do a monthly health topic at the beginning of the month, and this month was actually on brain health. So if you're in our community and you're watching and you haven't listened to that, it's an audio, go back and listen to that, because in that it was an awesome presentation. It was very interactive, and we talked a lot about the nutrients that feed the brain, about how the brain needs specific things in order to function, and that we expect that we can throw Coca-Cola and M&Ms and bread and all kinds of things in there that don't nourish the brain and actually throw it off, and then expect to be focused and clear and happy. And so we're going to talk about the foods that can nourish your brain, that can keep your mood steady, that can keep your memory clear, and to boot will give you lots of energy and lots of joy in your life. So if you're ready to get started, we're going to get going. So if you're not a member of our community, we invited everybody who's not a member of the Vital community to watch this and to watch the replay for about 48 hours after. You won't get the PDF copy of the recipe guide, and you won't get the permanent copy, the edited version of the video. So we'd love to have you as a member, because in addition, you get other benefits, which is a health topic, you get a monthly Q&A, and you get an amazing Facebook community. And you can go over to vitalhealthcommunity.com for that. So I'm just going to get this beautiful array of food, which is all brain nourishing for a variety of reasons. I'm going to put it off to the side, and we're going to get started. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the importance of fats for your brain. Yes, fats for your brain. You hear a lot about how we have to avoid fats like the plague. Fats are going to give you heart disease. Fats are going to make you have a stroke, give you cancer, all sorts of things. And the truth of that is bad fats will do all that stuff. Processed fats will do all that stuff. Oxidized fats will do all that stuff. But the truth of the matter is your brain is composed of 75% fat, and you need good fats to nourish that. You need the fats that the brain actually needs to make the myelin sheaths, to make the communications happen. So we're going to start with a recipe that's going to use some good fats and also a rainbow assortment of vegetables, because one of the things your brain needs is antioxidants. I'm sure you've heard that term. It's all a buzzword all over the news, in addition to the health newsletter space. And antioxidants are these chemicals that protect you from damage. And the brain needs more of these than any other part of the body, because think about it. It runs the show. It's the orchestrator. It needs to be able to control and tell all the rest of the body what to do. And if it can't communicate because its signaling process is broken, it can't help you. And oxidation, which is the breakdown, think of it as rusting, right? If you leave something that's made with iron out in the rain, it kind of turns orangey brown. That happens in your body. That's oxidation. That's the oxidation you see visibly in the world. But think about that rusting happening in your body. And when that rusting happens in your brain, what happens to your ability to think clearly, to remember things, to be happy and not be all anxious, to be calm? It all goes away. So we're going to start with something that I'm calling a rainbow pasta salad. And it's made with all kinds of veggies instead of noodles. So I'm going to say one more thing. And you know me, I can talk forever about this stuff, but I want to get down to demonstrating too. But the other thing about brain that people don't realize is that your brain gets damaged by too much sugar and too much starch. the cells in the brain become resistant to a hormone called insulin, which helps to take sugars and bring them in. And when we have too much of those sugars in the way of starches and sugar itself, the brain gets insulin resistance. And they're thinking now that that's what leads to Alzheimer's and dementia. And if you've ever had a relative or a friend with Alzheimer's, you know it's heartbreaking. It's totally heartbreaking to see this person who actually normally is pretty robust physically, and they can't even remember the beginning of their sentence by the time they get to the end of the sentence. They can't remember what they did 2 minutes ago. And that damage to the brain is happening slowly over time. It doesn't just happen the minute they forget their keys and then they forget their son's name. Okay? So that stuff's happening, and you can prevent it. And you can prevent it by providing your brain with good fats, good proteins, lots of antioxidant-rich foods, and you don't inundate it with starches and sugars. But face it, who didn't grow up on noodles and pastas and all that sort of stuff? It's one of our staple foods, right? Macaroni and cheese and Ronzoni Franco-American SpaghettiOs and all that sort of stuff that we grew up on. And of course, I grew up in an Italian family. So we had pasta 3 or 4 times a week, and it was the Ronzoni white pasta, or my grandmother made it, but she was in the modern world now. And so she didn't make it with the whole grain flour that she grew up with. Or take the grain, grind it down, and then make it. She bought the white flour in the store and made it. So we had homemade stuff, but it wasn't the same. So I'm going to show you how to make a dish that's full of rainbow vegetables, and I'll tell you about all the different ones I'm going to make. And it's going to have a sauce that's made with omega-3 fats, and that's going to all nourish your brain. So you ready? Is everybody ready? Let me know if they're ready. Yes? Yeah. So the first thing I want to do is demonstrate an amazing new tool I got. You know me, I love kitchen gadgets. So on one of our Facebook groups, I think it was our Sweet Spot Facebook group or our Unstoppable Health, we have several Facebook groups. And there was a discussion like, what's the best spiralizer to use? And a spiralizer is how you take a cylindrical shaped vegetable, you know, like zucchini or daikon radish or carrot or yellow squash. You can even do parsnips and other things, and how you turn them into spaghetti. So the ones I've used before, I've demonstrated on these shows. You can go back to the old ones and see. You put it in, you hand crank it, which is great for your biceps and it's great for your shoulder muscles, but it's also slow. So somebody posted a couple of those spiralizers, and one of them they posted was the Veggie Bullet. So, you know, me and gadgets, I went out there, checked out the Veggie Bullet, and of course I had to have it, so I ordered it instantaneously on the on the spot, and this is what it looks like. It looks kind of like a food processor. Oh, is it stuck? There we go. Yeah, so it looks kind of like a food processor, and it has this attachment, and we put the cylindrical shaped vegetables into the chute, and we get noodles. So I'm going to demonstrate that, and then we'll make a sauce. Okay. It's really easy to use, and it has actually several different blades. So this is angel hair. There's also one for a thicker noodle, a fettuccine type noodle, and then flat ribbon. So there's 4 different blade shapes. I'm going to do angel hair because I absolutely love angel hair. Okay. And watch how easy this is. Those of you who've done the other know. Okay, we'll start with a carrot. And I'm going to turn it on. I think you're supposed to cut them in half. And I'm going to put it in there. We use this little shooter. And then we've got the start of the spaghetti. Make sure it's going right. You know, I have the right noodle thing in there. Actually, that's interesting. It didn't do the spiralizing. It did slicing. So it's for spiralizing. Let me try it with the zucchini and see. I may put the wrong blade in. I am new at this. Okay, so we're going to put it in this way. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There it goes. It's spiralized. Okay, it's probably not the angel hair. Look at that.
Wow.
Is that gorgeous? All right, we'll do that. And it gives you these cute little hors d'oeuvres-y things that we'll use to blend into something else later. No, it doesn't look like it went all the way through. Let's try this again. I did this yesterday, which is quick, so we'll take that off. And we'll put this in. On the video, they didn't have to stop it in between, so maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. So let's just try it again. You're seeing it here first. Oh, I see. It goes up through that thing. Once you put it in, it's smaller. Okay. All right, so. I'm going to do some squash. I think you do have to take it off. I don't think it's going to work. Well, going up. Pretty cool, eh? Look at all that.
Oh.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah.
Let's try it with the carrot again. Maybe I messed up with the carrot this time. Oops.
Ritamarie, what would you say is your top veggies to spiralize?
Zucchini and daikon and squash. I don't do carrots that I'm going to try it with this, but generally with the hand spiralizer I don't, because they're so thin, they don't do it real well. But this seems to. There. Now we've got spiralized.
Oh.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Yay. And let's do this. That's going to be too fat to go in there. So let's do it that way. And the last one I'm going to do is daikon. You know, daikon is one of my favorites because it gives it a little bit of a bite, but it's also extremely nutritious. It's used in macrobiotics for breaking down mucus. So if you tend to have a lot of mucus formation, they use it a lot in remedies when somebody's got a cold or flu.
Bring it
got
on.
a lot of mucus, right? So I'll put this down in there, and this is going to make beautiful.
Would burdock be too much?
Burdock could work. I haven't tried it yet. Burdock could be very. And we've got this big full right now, so I'm going to grab one of the big bowl, and it's got this nice little catcher, and you just pour it out. Then you can just put it back in, and then the outer bowl catches some of the juices and the other stuff. Put that there, and we're going to actually fortify this with some arame noodles, which we soaked somewhere over there. Yeah, and they're not really noodles, but I like noodles. I'm going to try to get away with doing this large like that. I'm not sure if I can. Let's see. No. There we go. Tighten it on. I'll try. I'm going to try just because I only want to get one of those little things rather than two. Oh, there it goes. I didn't snap it back in. Let's see if it works. See, that's good to see because that way I can make a whole big bowl of it without getting so many of these little hors d'oeuvre things. But like, they're really cool for dipping. Eating like that, feeding to the dog, whatever.
So give it to Cassie.
Okay. So let's put that into the bowl. Let's do that. And then we're going to add the arame, which is kind of like a noodle. But arame is a sea vegetable. And as we know, sea vegetables are loaded with all sorts of great things. Iodine, which helps support the thyroid, pancreas, and other parts of the body, protect the breast, the uterus. And it's good brain food because it's loaded with minerals, and the brain needs good minerals. So what I'm going to do here, do you have a strainer? Is I'm going to, first I'll mix these up while they're getting a strainer. We're just going to mix it. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it looks like confetti.
Yeah, and it's not like just plain old spaghetti, which is just white and drab. Very pretty. Yeah, and I think daikon would work. I think parsnip would work as well. Yeah, I think parsnip would work well too.
Beet.
Beet. Oh, beet, of course.
Oh, beet.
Thank you.
Beet it.
Oh, we're doing that. I'm going to put the beet in. See if the beet fits. Beet has to be cut. So we'll try it that way. So to keep it as round as possible. Okay. Thank you, beet. I bought beet for a reason because it gives it that extra color too.
Now, can you just stack the next one on top and just?
That's what I thought I was. That's what I tried before. Let me try it. I don't know that I can. Well, that's what the beat. It didn't want to start the other. You should try it again and just see, because now you know this is a good thing to experiment with. So now there's two little pieces. But try it. Let's try it with another zucchini, and let's try it with the whole zucchini now that I have that mastered. I'm just going to make a flat. Let me try this. Okay. This. We'll try it your way. We'll see if it works, okay? Let's take a yellow squash and put it in there. And see if that actually works. It might. No, I think it gets to a point with that little piece where it just can't. Okay. It can't go further. But it's a good experiment.
Yeah.
What size are the beet noodles? They look like thicker ribbons.
Wow.
Look how that looks.
That is spectacular.
Isn't that beautiful?
Here's a question. What foods help the pineal function? P-I-N.
Pineal?
P-I-N-A-L?
Well, I mean, the pineal gland makes melatonin. And melatonin is important to have B vitamins in order to make melatonin. Of course, antioxidant-rich foods to protect it from oxidation. And, of course, omega-3s will be good for it.
Would a cucumber be a disaster?
They say you can do cucumber. Let's try it. So anyway, this machine is called the Veggie Bullet. Is there a cucumber here? Yeah, a cucumber.
Oh, it's not a cucumber.
I think you did.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, I did? Oh, I already did a cucumber. It wasn't a disaster. I wonder if we can find it in there. Wow. That's good to know.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Is that the one that's in there now? Yeah? Oh, very cool. Let's see how it looks. So you can do anything that's a cylinder. Yep, it's watery. It's for watery. They're a little shorter. No, there's not all of them are shorter. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Now we're going to add. Now we've got a big bowl of spaghetti. Antioxidant-rich beets are really good for the brain. They're all good for the brain. Carrots, beta-carotene. Yeah. Okay, so now we have our arame, and we're going to add that in. It's because it's the same shape. It's might as well put in black spaghetti along with the rest of it. Or brown. It's actually red-ish. Dark red. Now we've got this huge bowl of spaghetti. And we can make a sauce for it. This will serve a lot of people for several days. The funny thing is on the manual spiralizers, it's translated from Japanese, one of the ones I have, and it says on there, it turns 5 daikons into 6. And I was like, what? It turns 5 daikons into 6. But then when you look at the daikon and then you look at what happens to it, this is just a few pieces of veggies. What was this? 1 zucchini, 1 cucumber, 1 squash, 1 carrot, and 1 daikon. And it fills up a whole bowl. Right? That's 1 beet. And then a beet, small beet. All right, I'm going to wash my hands off. We're going to make a sauce. Okay. So the sauce is going to be omega-3 rich. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. Comes off really easily. And then I will move the blender in place. And I'll show you later what else we can do with this. Because we're going to make another dish with rice. Rice is the same thing. It's a starchy food, and if we could substitute something for the rice and still use it in rice dishes, how wonderful would that be? So I'm going to use this. Actually, I could just show this real quick. I could have used the same base. It came with a little mini container that I could make actually some dipper dressing in there. Since we moved it away already, we'll use it later. I'll do the vitamins. So we're going to use walnuts and ginger. So we're going to make that's what I wanted, right? A walnut ginger sauce? Yes, a walnut ginger sauce. We're also going to put hemp seeds in there. What we're going to be doing is making this a very omega-3 rich sauce. So I've got my hemp seeds, I've got my lemon juice, and I've got my ginger over here. I'm going to put some turmeric in there as well. And depending on whether you want it hot or not, we may use a little bit of jalapeno. Okay.
Let's go with the temperature outside.
To go with the temperature. Well, it's cold in here now because we have the air conditioning, which I don't like. I usually don't keep it on. I prefer hot. But I'm just weird. Okay. Big old hunk of ginger, big old hunk of turmeric. In the Vitamix, you don't have to peel them or anything. It gets blended up. If you have a regular blender, a lower speed blender, you may have to. Although I did test out that little blender jar for the Veggie Bullet, and I made a little sauce. It had macadamia nuts and ginger. No, it had sesame, tahini, and ginger and turmeric, and it blended it up just fine. So we're going to put probably about a cup of walnuts in here. And I'm going to put, what?
Nuts.
You heard the word nuts, yes. I'm going to put like a really similar. So between the two, I'm putting close to 2 cups. This will make enough sauce for all those noodles because there's a lot of noodles there. I'm going to put equivalent of about a 1/4 cup of, a third, that's a third. I'll put a little less than a third, but about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Okay. And I'm going to put in some water. Give me that water, please. All right. I'm going to put in probably half a cup of water. No, a cup of water to start because there's a lot of juice. All right. You ready? If you have a sensitivity to lemon, you can put in apple cider vinegar. Or if you just prefer the flavor, if you want to switch, you can also put ume vinegar, which is a very alkalizing type vinegar. It gives it a kind of little Asian flair, which might be good with the noodles. The other thing you could do is maybe add a pinch of sesame oil to make it like an Asian type of sesame noodle dish. Lots of options. Walnut and hemp seeds are definitely good brain food. I'm going to taste it. Yum. It needs, I'm going to put a pinch of kelp powder in there. I have my kelp powder here. A little while ago. And a pinch of salt. So I'll put about probably 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. But it's going to be to your own taste. And I have the kelp powder right there.
Laura wants to know if ume vinegar is more alkaline than apple cider.
I've never seen them compared as to one more so than the other. It's possible, but I've never seen it quantified anywhere. Yeah, it oftentimes between them comes down to a personal preference as far as flavor and the kind of flavor you're trying to achieve. If you are trying to go for more of an Asian, Asian macrobiotic, you might use ume with some sesame oil. A little bit more lemon, so I'm going to say the full third of a cup of lemon. Now, you may not like lemon as much as I do, or you may have chosen to put some vinegar in there. But I love lemon. I love that really nice.
Yeah, I like how lemon gives that really high note, really sparkling.
It just really does. It makes things pop, right? It's quite good. I think it needs a tad more salt. And again, you're going to salt it to flavor. And I think it needs something else I was just thinking it needed a little. Oh, it's got a lot of ginger. Probably would be good with garlic, and it would probably be good with a little bit of. Now you can leave this out. This is a little jalapeno. If you have nightshade sensitivity, or if you tend to just not like things hot, you leave that part out. Other things you might put in there would be garlic, if you like garlic. Garlic's also very good for the brain. It's very good detoxification. The dog's kind of lurking around, Cassidy, waiting for nuts to drop.
With cayenne.
That was excellent. Yeah.
With the lemon juice, does it have to be fresh, or can you get it in like a bottle from the?
Well, when you get it in a bottle, it's usually pasteurized, so I don't do that. I just use fresh lemon. It's going to be the best. It's going to have the most antioxidant capacity. So then we're just going to pour it, and we'll use one of our spatulas to bring it down. And if you're doing this for small children, think about the flavors that they like. So you make the spaghettis, but then you might make it more of a, like a cashew cheese like they may have, or a cheddar cheese, where you can put a red bell pepper in there and make it like a cheddar cheese, or a nutritional yeast in there to make it like a cheddar. And that might be, more for a child's palate. Because children need brain food too. The sad thing is we see so many kids with ADD and with depression and anxiety, and little kids, like memory issues for sure. And a lot of it's the stress they're born with. A lot of it is the exposures that they have. Some of it's the vaccines that they've been given and their bodies didn't have the ability to detoxify from them. And there's a lot of reasons that we're seeing our little children. Maybe wooden spoon better. All right, so I'm just mixing this up. I personally tend to use my hands a lot when I'm mixing food. And I know a lot of people don't like to do that because it gets them messy, but I find that it really lets the taste and the flavors and everything move around. It's like it's having a hard time getting to the bottom.
If you can't play with your food, what can you play with?
So this is the way I would do it. My hands are clean. You saw me just clean them. Yes, that'll be good for serving. And I just like to get in there and just make sure that all of that juice is penetrating all those noodles. And look at that. Yeah. Nice spaghetti dish. So we'll take it and we'll put a little bit on a plate. I'll wash my hands again. And we'll serve it and see what everybody thinks. If the spiralizer cuts the noodles and they're too big, like they're really long, like 14 feet long, you can take a cutting scissor, a culinary scissor, and just snip them. Like some of these are a little long. You just snip it off that way. But you can also take a culinary scissor. Make sure it's not the scissor you use for cutting newspapers or whatever. Just cut, and you can cut it up. So that server would be great. The one you just had, the tongs, would be perfect for serving. And I really like to use tongs for serving dishes with noodles.
Pourquoi?
There we go. And you can decorate this. You could take, say, some of these beautiful little pieces of veggie that we did, and you could just, or you could use the ricer attachment, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, with the veggie thing or food processor. Just make them into little confetti.
Just giving it a couple of different textures.
Yes, and to make it, and I would do it right on the plate just to decorate it. And also, like if you have cilantro or parsley or basil or something that's going to go well, you could just do a little bit of that.
Nice garnish.
A garnish, exactly. Here's a little bit of, something like that. And now we've got a beautiful dish. Voila, voila. You guys are welcome to taste. Pass it around and see what you think. I'm going to taste it as well now that it's done and tell you guys what I think. Personally, I like things that are pretty spicy. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. When you make the sauce and you say, oh my God, that sauce is so strong, know that as soon as you put it on the veggie or whatever you're topping it onto, it's going to dilute. You're tasting the sauce alone. So it really should be strong so that once it's on here, it gets diluted and it's pretty darn good. All right. Now we have a whole dish to serve for potluck. So if those of you who are coming later to our potluck, you can do it. Usually every Saturday that we do these, the once a month that we do these, right afterwards we have a potluck dinner at our home. And it's through Meetup. So you go to meetup.com or drritamarie.com/meetup. We'll take you to our page. So if you are somewhere in the area, I know we have some people that come in from like Houston and Dallas and San Antonio, in addition to Austin. Come on by. We'd love it. If you're ever in town, sometimes we have people who are visiting in town for whatever reason, and they come and visit us and get to taste the food we make. So that's that. The next thing I wanted to make, let me see what would be the most appropriate next thing to make. I wanted to make some sunflower seed cheese. And the reason for sunflower seed is because sunflower contains a lot of lecithin. And you might have seen at the store sunflower lecithin. And sunflower lecithin has a lot of phosphatidylcholine, and that actually supplies your brain with what it needs for the memory centers. So phosphatidylcholine plus, it's good for lining and nourishing the nerve sheaths. So it's a really good one. I don't have any sunflower lecithin anymore. I used it all up. But I thought, well, let me make a sunflower cheese. Then you get the benefit of the sunflower with the lecithin and also some of the probiotics. Because the thing is about feeding your brain, you've got to feed your gut. You've got to have really good microbiome, which are the critters that live in your gut, in order to feed your brain. Because there's this intimate connection between the gut and the brain. So a lot of the stuff we're going to be showing you is actually going to help your gut as well as your brain, because you can't feed one without feeding the other. Well, you can, but you won't get the good results. So for these sunflower seeds, all I did was soak them for a while. I just soaked them for a few hours. And I'm going to strain them. Put that strainer handy. Perfect. We'll just strain them. And rinse them. So when I strain something and I'm going to go away from the sink, I usually put it right back over the bowl that it came from. So I've rinsed off the seeds. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to show you one.
Good catch.
Good catch, yeah. Yeah. So with the sunflower, you can just put in here, and this is one of the things that you can actually just start by blending and seeing what it needs. So I don't know if it put the water right away. I want to keep this thick. I'm gonna have to push it down. And it's blending, but it needs possibly a little bit of water to make it go. And
Any difference for brain benefit between granular sunflower lecithin and the syrup?
No, I would just make sure you get the organic or the non-GMO and the ones that are hexane free, because some of them they actually extract it out with hexane, and that's not a good thing. Just push it. Okay, so I'll push this down one more time. There's still a few seeds in there. We want this to be thick. I'll show you what I'm going for. It's a thick consistency. I just want to get the rest of those down. I don't want to add too much liquid. I think what I should have done was use the smaller blender container because it's narrower. This is wider, and it would have come up higher. I think the problem is this is meant to be done for big loads. There it goes. Okay. Yeah. There, it's almost done. Now, one of the things I like to do with the sunflower seed cheese is to blend it on up and then use a nut milk bag and let it hang overnight and let the liquid drip out. And then as it's dripping out, it's actually fermenting. Or you can put some probiotic powder in at this point and accelerate that process. And then you get this nice thick cheese that's really quite yummy. Could you look? I think there's a bag over in that corner. One of the sunflower, yeah, there we go. We go a little bit more on this. And I'm just going to air on the side of a tiny bit more water since I'm going to be cleaning it. bringing it up to draw, so to speak. This is kind of how they make regular cheese, you know, with milk. The curd's in the way. They separate the curd from the whey. The liquid is the whey. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of probiotic powder in there right now in the fridge on the right in the upper container. Yeah, there should be it. And you'll see it's a nice consistency, so it's not going to drip too much. And we're going to put a little bit of this probiotic powder. This is Friendly Force from Health Force. And I'm going to put in maybe a teaspoon.
And the mix hasn't gotten too warm with all that blending, or?
It's been a pretty low temperature. Actually, I'm going to stir it before I turn it on. I may actually just stir it rather than just so we don't warm up the organisms. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I think I'll just stir it in. That way I don't run the risk of the organisms getting too warm. Any probiotic will work. If you have a probiotic that really works well for you, in terms of taking it, it's going to work well this way. So now, if you wanted to, you could just let this sit at room temperature overnight. But I have found that it makes it best cheese when we use a nut milk bag. Was there one that had a finer strain? There's another one that was small. There we go. Thanks. All right. And the way that I could do this is I could put it over a bowl like this. And I can just spoon the cheese into that. And then after this goes overnight, ferments overnight, I can add seasonings. So I can add any herbs or spices that I really like. You just put it in the bag. Get a spatula. And spatula it out. You just make sure you get all the goodies. They tend to get down there. And sometimes this spatula works better for getting at the very bottom. It's just because it gets under the blade. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually gets under the blade because it's long and it's skinny.
It's the one that you get out.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know I was going to do this. But it's a good one in general.
And you said there's a smaller container that might have worked better?
Well, the one we used earlier would have worked better because it's this is a 48-ounce one and the other one's a 32, and it's a little narrower.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to just basically take it and we can squeeze. See how some of the water comes out?
Could you use that little new veggie bullet cup thing for that? Because it's not that much.
You could try it. I'm not sure how. I haven't tried it yet enough to know if it's going to break up the sunflower seeds well enough. But yes, you certainly could. We can try it sometime and let people know. And then what I would do is I sometimes will find a little, I won't do it right here because there's no counter above it, but I'll take it and I'll just hang it from one of the counters and then I'll place the bowl underneath it. So we'll do it over here. Yeah, you can stick it over here. So I can over here and I can get a rubber band or something. And then I want to angle it so that it's properly done. And we got it hang. And then tomorrow it's going to be this nice, thick, sour, kind of fermented cheese. There. And then we'll get to season it. I love putting ume vinegar in when I make that sunflower cheese. It's really delicious. So that's it.
And I guess the cheese bags, the milk bags come in different mesh
They come in
size?
different sizes. Some of them are actually meant to be nut milk bags. I know Elena Love sells them on her site. There's a number of other sites. Sometimes you can just get them at the store as a paint straining bag. Best if you can get it as organic materials, that way, because it's against your food and food grade. But yep, easy enough. Any questions from the audience so far?
Just a refresh of what was in the sauce for the noodles.
The sauce
A
contains
lot of stuff.
walnuts, equal parts walnut and hemp seed, excuse me, and drink. So it was equal parts. I actually used a cup of each, about a cup of water, and then we did a third of a cup of lemon juice, a piece of ginger, a piece of turmeric, and a little piece of cayenne, and then some salt and kelp to taste. That's it. Okay. So we've made a mess here, right? I've made a mess here. You guys are just cleaning up the mess. We'll save these and put them in a smoothie and a stew. So I also wanted to show you how to make some rice, because again, we talked about the glycemic index of food is really important, and a lot of people like rice. We have coconut rice, we like fried rice, we like all sorts of different rice dishes, or just putting veggies over rice, or putting whatever you're eating over rice. And so this bullet thing actually gives us the ability to make that, but also you could do it in a food processor. So I'm going to try it with the bullet thing because I haven't done it that way before yet. I'm going to pass that over. I'm going to use this other gadget. Nope, the base. Everything requires the electric. So here we go. It has this other attachment that came, I think this is a special, they claim it's a special right now. I ordered it from their site. And it was like 3 payments or 4 payments, or 6 payments of $25 or something. It was some really reasonable, affordable thing. You can try it. If you don't like it, you can send it back, that kind of thing. This is they call it the shooter. But it's very similar to a food processor, but instead of it being done inside where it's going, it's shooting it out. So you do need to put a bowl underneath it. Can everybody see from there? Can you tell if we can see this well from there? Should I pull it up?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
The video.
I'll put it up here because then I'm going to need a place for the bowl. Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect. So I'm going to make some rice. And then when you make the rice, you can either cook the rice or you can do it as a raw dish. So cauliflower rice, jicama rice, even broccoli rice. They had a recipe guide that came with it and said you could do broccoli rice. So I'm going to do jicama and cauliflower. Oh, there's the cauliflower. I'm going to do jicama and cauliflower. You could do daikon as well. So I'm going to cut. It has to be the size that fits in there. So this is a big old jicama. So I'm going to cut it like that. And I'll do it with cauliflower as well so you can see. And we're going to make a coconut sauce. Now here's the thing with coconut. Coconut contains a type of oil called MCT, medium chain triglyceride, and that feeds the brain. It's really helpful. It's been found to be nourishing brains and helping with people who have MS and Alzheimer's and other kind of neurodegenerative type brain diseases, that this particular kind of oil in there is awesome. So there we go. And I need the pusher piece. Yeah, and the inside one too.
So I heard that the brain can either run on glucose or ketones.
Yep. Yeah, and if you've got any kind of brain disease, it's best working on ketones. So that's why we're trying to do low glycemic dishes here. Now, you don't have to go on a full-blown ketogenic diet unless you do have some sort of neurodegenerative disease, at least in the early stages. People make a mistake about thinking about a ketogenic diet as being something that they do for the long haul. And in reality, it's not. It's something that you do therapeutically. And there are some cases where you have to continue it for the long haul. But for the most part, you want to think about it in terms of a short-term diet. So I've got this in here. I have to put the right blade in. Make sure I've got the right blade. Now this blade, make sure you always get it by the holes. This blade does slicing or grating. You put it on the grater blade, not the slicing blade. When you put it on the grating blade, it's supposed to rice things. Now, you see it first. I haven't tried this before. I've done it in the food processor with the S blade, but this seems to be like it's going to be a little easier. That didn't work.
Maybe it's long grain rice.
Yeah, let's
Looks
try
like
it with
mozzarella
cauliflower. That looks like mozzarella cheese. So let's try it with cauliflower. I'll show you a different way in the food processor to do jicama rice. Okay, so that didn't work out. So let's see if the cauliflower actually works out. Just break it into little pieces and see. Maybe I read the instructions wrong. I'm pretty sure that this is what it said to do. So it works for the cauliflower. Let's just do a little bit more cauliflower. A bowl of cauliflower rice. Never stick your finger up there while it's spinning. It still has a few pieces of the jicama, but you can see that it makes a nice little fine grain kind of rice dish. We'll do a little bit more so I can make you a nice I was thinking about a coconut sauce, brain nourishing coconut sauce.
This recipe is good for migraines.
Well, you know, there's no recipe that's good for any one thing, right? It depends on why you have a migraine. You might have migraines because you have food allergies and you're eating foods that are not supporting you, like gluten or dairy or eggs or peanuts or corn or soy or anything at all that could actually be allergenic for you. It could be that you're sensitive to tyramines and other kind of food constituents. So it depends on the cause. The migraines can be caused by problems with your migraines can be caused by problems with your neck being out of alignment. It could be sensitivity. So it depends on what's causing the migraines. So anything that supports your body in getting away from foods that are damaging and adding foods in that are not damaging is going to support you in general. So we're not looking to treat diseases or conditions. We're looking to rebalance the body. Another way to make this is to put it in the food processor. I'll show you that real quick just because most of you don't have one of these. And you can actually do it on the S blade in the food processor. Okay, so that's that. And you can use it to make a really yummy dish that's, take this off. There we go. I just want to get this put into the bowl. Yes, I think it needs to be taken apart. Let's do that. Thank you. Whew. All right. So you can use this to make a dish. You know, you could put it in a pan and quick saute it. You could put a sauce or gravy over it and quick heat it. You don't want to heat it very long because it's already down to very small pieces. If you are going to heat it and you've blended up cauliflower, just a trick to get more nutrition out of your cruciferous vegetables. If you're going to cook them, you will actually increase their ability to make sulforaphane and sulforaphane content if you grind them up first and let them sit for about 45 minutes. Because there's a particular enzyme in there called myrosinase, and myrosinase takes the precursors and converts them to sulforaphane. If you eat them raw, no big deal. The chewing breaks it down, and in your stomach, that enzyme can still be working because it hasn't been heated, but that myrosinase gets destroyed by heating. So if you take your broccoli and you steam it in big pieces, you're going to not get the myrosinase activity. So if you chop it up first and then you cook it like 40 minutes later, then you're going to get more of that, and it's going to have more cancer fighting and hormone balancing sulforaphane in it.
Kind of reminds me of garlic, getting it crushed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Different mechanism, but similar concept.
Jay said he saw a recipe using cauliflower rice as a base for pizza.
You can use cauliflower rice as a base for a pizza crust. Maybe we'll do, I was thinking about doing a whole show on making pizza crusts and crackers and things like that, because that could be really fun.
How does it stay together?
Oh, I forget what I use. I have to look at the recipe, like chia seeds or some kind of nut or seed to pull it together. Psyllium, there's any number of things. Konjac. Okay, so I am going to put in some of these pieces of cauliflower, and I'll just show you how to do it this way. I've made this before, and they made cauliflower rice and actually make sushi out of it. Just want to show you that there's, I'm just trying to show off my new little gadget, but there's other ways to do it. You don't need a new little gadget if you don't want to get a new little gadget. So you just turn it on. You have to watch that you don't go too far. So it'll still be cooking there. Okay. And now you have cauliflower rice. These are a little smaller, but they work well. So if we put it all in that bowl, and again, like I said, you can warm it up. You can serve it cold. It's summertime, so we'll serve it more cold. But I've done this where I put it in a pan and then just warmed it up and put a little bit of sauce over it. So we're going to make a cauliflower, coconut rice.
Do you have a grater blade for your Cuisinart?
Yes, I do.
And would that?
I haven't tried it, but it
Okay.
could, yeah, it could work just the same. Yeah. Yeah, there's more than one way to grate a cauliflower. This is a whole cauliflower. And if I do it this way I'll show you how to do this as well. I can do this with the jicama, so we can make a combination of jicama and cauliflower. Now with the Cuisinart, if you want to use the S-blade, you generally want to be cutting things down into about 1-inch pieces, which is what I don't. That's what I was trying to avoid, having to cut things into 1-inch pieces. I like the quick chef. I'm the lazy chef. I like to do things that don't require so much cutting and all that. But that's okay. And in there, and I'll take another piece of jicama. And the middle pieces of jicama make great bread. I actually have a meat slicer that I use to slice them into tortillas. Or you can just slice them thin. And you can use it for an open-faced sandwich. Or you can use it for a closed-faced sandwich. This, and then you're filling in and one on top. Works really well. This is the part of the cauliflower that my dog likes. I'm going to see what she wants. Cassidy. Cassidy.
That's a big one.
She loves, I always give it to her. She loves taking them away as if it's a bone, and she eats the big ends of the cauliflower. She loves it. So I'm going to just show you that this works really well as two.
What's that? Now, whenever I see jicama, it's usually non-organic. Is that normal?
I've seen it organic. I think it's not one of the dirty dozen.
Okay.
And it's also got that really thick skin, which we don't eat.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, my trick with this kind of thing when you're using the S-blade, if you have it on, is to bang it around a little to make it go towards the center so you don't have to go deep.
Could you refresh me why wait 40 minutes before
Because
cooking cauliflower?
it takes about 40 minutes for the myricinates to actually break down the isothiocyanate into sulforaphane.
Would that be
You
on the
asked.
test?
In the cauliflower?
Actually, Laura asked.
Yeah. Yeah. And any cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower, kale, any of those. Yeah. If you're going to cook them, it's best to do it that way because you don't kill the sulforaphane. You can also eat it with a lot of other red stuff, so you're not going to completely destroy it. But if you're having, like, say, a kale salad with your cooked broccoli, then some of that myricinates that's still in the cauliflower will break down the isothiocyanate. So there's combinations that you can do. So look at that. A whole big bowl of nice rice. No carb. Very little carb. There is carb. No starch. No quick brain rushes. Wonderful. So we're going to make a little coconut sauce. And this is very common in Thai restaurants where you get coconut rice. And again, you can take a can of coconut milk and you can do all kinds of stuff and put it in a pan and just warm it up quickly. You don't need to cook this very long if you are going to cook it because it's so tiny. You're going to get the benefit. So some people don't. They get gas from raw cruciferous. So, but usually it's because, you know, it hasn't been chopped up small enough. Okay. And it's very yummy. And there's a combination of flavor. Cauliflower alone, if it's raw, can be a little harsh. With the jicama, it gives it a sweetness. You can use this to make sushi. You can use it to make wraps. You can use it to make any number of things. Basically, nice rice. Good, right?
Yeah.
So we can go back to that thing. Thank you. You know, we should order these recipes by the equipment. I'm going to do a blender. And the small one would be good with the blender. Got the original one that we used. So the 24-ounce one. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So one of my favorite ways to make a coconut sauce is to use this artisanal coconut cream. Makes it really, really nice. Of course, if you wanted to buy the cans of coconut, you can. Some of them are really nice, organic, and they have the lining of the can so that it's you know, it's inert, so you're not going to get a lot of stuff. Because if you use your regular too. Oh, the air conditioner's on.
Nope.
I like this when the air conditioner's on. It's still a little soft. Put in a few tablespoons of coconut butter. So I'd say it's less expensive from an economic standpoint to use the artisanal with water than it is to buy the cans of coconut milk. Plus it's raw and it's organic and all that. Yeah, so you basically can make like 30-ounce cans or whatever, 4-ounce, whatever the size of that can,
Yeah,
a couple of tablespoons. That's all it is. And water. You just blend it up.
And that's straight coconut butter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all that, if you look at those, that's all it is.
So it has
Coconut
a slight
and water.
sweet taste?
Why pay them for the
Oh.
water? Right?
Right.
Why pay them for the water? So you do this. We will probably use this. Thank you. And this is really simple to make if you want to make coconut milk. We're making coconut milk. I'll get that out of the way. Can everybody see? Because I know I'm over here and there's some things in the way. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. It's very simple. Coconut milk. There's other ways to make coconut milk. You can use the dried shredded ones too and use it in water, but look at that. Doesn't that look like the stuff that comes in the cans? It's beautiful and it's green. I could taste it and see if it's too thin or too thick. You have to be careful you don't make it too strong. I think you probably need more water. That's very strong. I put a little bit more water. Quite a bit. Split the coconut milk that I made into half, and I'm going to make a little bowl of rice pudding so you can see how easy it is to make rice pudding this way, and the other will be like a coconut curry kind of thing. So we could put curry paste in there and pour it over a bowl of rice and have curried coconut rice. Let me just I'll do small amounts so we don't have to spend all of our time. So I'll take 2 of these bowls and I'll just take a handful of the rice mixture in each. And put this here. Okay, so one of them is going to be dessert, and the other one's going to be a meal, right? So instead of dessert using all kinds of flour and sugar and all that, we'll show you how to make that. So let's show you this one. I'm going to take half of this out. If you get out of the fridge, there's some coconut curry paste in the door to the right.
your upper shelf, a little tiny jar.
There, it's a little tiny jar. Yeah, you're real close. Hot, hot, hot.
That's red. We got green too.
Yeah.
Not open, but not open.
Okay, I use the red. Yes, I'm using about a half a cup of this coconut milk. And I'm going to put some of the curry paste in there. You can mix your own. You can put, this is basically chilies and galangal, and I'll read it, red chili pepper, garlic, lemongrass, galangal, salt, shallot, kefir. But this is for quick and easy, right? You just use this made. But if you wanted to mix those things together on your own, you could. I like it because I can go on a vacation and be, you know, somebody else's kitchen where I don't have all my spices and all that, and quickly, easily put something together. We did a lot of this when we were traveling last year with our vacation. We would take the coconut milk and we'd take the curry paste and we'd just pour it over the veggies and make an amazing dish. And we just did that the other night too. It was really great. So I told you fast and easy, shortcuts in the kitchen. You know, it takes 40 minutes to cook brown rice. How long did it take us to cut that? I mean, with all my explanations and, you know, playing around, but seriously, it really takes 5 minutes. Okay. There's our curry. And I'll test it to see if there's the quantity of salt or other things that you want in there. It's delicious. I often put a little bit of extra lemongrass powder or lime essential oil, lemongrass essential oil or lime essential oil. Wow. So a couple of drops of the lime essential oil, come out of lemongrass. And I'll just stir it in. And it gives it a real Thai flavor. Yummy. And now I pour it over my rice. And then I don't have all those carbs, right? Rushing to my brain and getting my brain insulin resistance and then having a crash afterwards. And
yet it looks like you have all those carbs.
It looks like it, right? It's just like looks like a bowl of rice.
You make a sauce like that that is on the sweet side.
I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's my next step. Make pudding. My next step. There. Then we just taste it. Taste a little bit of that. Yum. You might need a little bit of extra salt depending on your salt palate. But you guys can pass that around. And I'll save a little bit of extra of this and we can pour it over later for potluck guests. Yeah, perfect. Just a quick rinse on that, and I'll use that for. I drink it too. I'll use it for this. So this I'm going to make it into rice pudding. You know, I know that if you go to a Thai restaurant, you get mango sticky rice. If you go to other places, you may get some kind of rice pudding. So we can make kind of. We don't have any mango right now. Do we have mango? No. All right. But we can make this a rice pudding. And you see, again, the coconut. If you reach in there, we can get a little bit of the MCT oil out. You can use that. Right in the side door on the left. The right, yeah, there we go. You can actually get MCT oil separately. So if you have a family member or you are suffering already with memory loss or Alzheimer's or dementia or anything, MCT is something you can use therapeutically, right? They don't have anything other than Aricept or whatever medications that are just going to slow the process down, maybe. But this stuff really actually helps to heal, and there's a lot of documented evidence about it. I'm not a big fan of oils per se. I like to use the whole food, and that's why I use the whole coconut. But this is an extra added thing that therapeutically, if you're seeing some of that slipping and you are dealing with MS or another neurodegenerative disease or have a family member like that, this is something that you can use therapeutically to help support it. So I'm going to make this really quickly, and I'm going to put the rest of my coconut milk in there. And again, that could have been from a can if you wanted to, whatever quick and easy steps you want to deal with. I've got some of this vanilla powder. Absolutely love this vanilla powder. I got it on Amazon. Kiva, organic vanilla bean powder, 20 bucks for a bag. Yeah, and I'm going to put about a teaspoon of vanilla powder in there. The other thing you can put in there would be cinnamon, and I'll put in a little bit of cinnamon. Find the cinnamon.
Now, is this the Ceylon or the regular cinnamon?
This is Ceylon. And I'll put, close to a teaspoon. Cinnamon you can be pretty good about. And then as a little bit of sweetness, well, we'll blend it first and see, but I have a couple of options for sweetness. I've got stevia. You can put a couple of drops of stevia in there. And I have vanilla stevia and all kinds of flavor stevia. But you can also put in some lohan, Chinese lohan. And that's, it's a powder that you only need a tiny, tiny bit of. Very sweet, and it tricks the tongue into thinking it's sugar, but it's not. Now, some people say that you shouldn't be doing that. You should get away from desserts completely. Great. When I hit sane to it, I'll do that. But I'm not there yet, and maybe you aren't either. So you still maybe want to have some of that natural sweet flavors and desserts and be able to do it without triggering all kinds of responses in your body. If you are, a really strong emotional eater, you may tend to go to the Lohan sweetened chocolates as if they're regular chocolates, but at least it's better for you. Yeah, you still have to deal with the emotional eating piece as well. I'm going to put in a tiny little pinch. This is very strong. I'm really looking at maybe a quarter teaspoon at the most of this Lohan powder to sweeten that up a little bit. And then I'm going to hit the blender. Is this the one or is the other one? I need the smaller one. That one, yeah. Thank you. And I'll use that because I don't have the other piece. I don't really need the plunger. I'm just doing it instead of the lid because there we go. Thanks. I have different variations on the Vitamix and different lids fit different ones. So I'm just going to mix it up. Okay. And we'll taste it. It's got vanilla, coconut, lohan, and cinnamon. Wow. And we've just made an amazing rice pudding. If you wanted to make it like a mango sticky rice, you can have that sauce, and then you can just put chunks of mango or papaya or any kind of fruit. You could put a few blueberries. Berries are actually really good brain food. So we could actually put a few blueberries, which I have right there.
And I hear frozen blueberries.
You can put frozen wild organic,
Can sometimes be.
Now I've got this amazing rice pudding that doesn't have rice. And if you're super sensitive to even the sweet of the fruit, then don't eat it. Just do the rice itself. So I'll taste this. Heavenly. The vanilla, the cinnamon, it just comes together in a beautiful flavor. You guys can start. I have those little.
I think it's great that it comes from the same base. That you have two totally savory and sweet.
You can take, and so it cuts down your cooking time, your prep time, because you have these two bases, and you can make one into dessert and one into the side dish. Right? Really quick, really easy. We're doing on time. There was one other thing I wanted to make for you. There are actually two. So the omega-3s are super important. We talked about, and so one of the things I'm going to do is I've made chia porridge before, but you can make chia porridge that's a dessert related chia porridge. Okay, so one of the things that I like when I make a chia porridge is to make a nut milk to go over it and make it look like tapioca. So this is just chia soaked with a little bit of hemp because I had too much hemp to fit in the jar, so I put it in here. But chia with hemp is a great omega-3. We can add a little bit more hemp. Maybe you have, this was a cup of chia and probably a half a cup of hemp. But I love to put the coconut flakes in there. The coconut flakes just give it, it gives it a tapioca-like consistency. I use these little, very finely shredded. You can use the larger shred depending on what you want. And I'm putting, generously like 4 or 5 teaspoons, a couple of tablespoons, whatever. Okay. And then I'm just going to stir. And the next thing I'm going to add to this gets it thicker, so it makes it a nice pudding consistency when you put that coconut in. Do you like the pudding?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was just the coconut water.
Coconut milk
Coconut
that
milk.
we made, and it had cinnamon and vanilla and a tiny pinch of lohan, and that was it. Very simple. Okay. So I put the coconut in here, and I could put more if I wanted. It depends on how you do it, and how much you want, how much you like it. I tend to like a lot of coconut. Coconut helps the omega-3s in the hemp and the chia to convert to the long-chain omega-3s, the DHA and EPA, much more efficiently. So I like to always combine some coconut with my omega-3 fats. I'm going to take this, and what am I going to put? I can keep this same thing because I'm just going to make a milk to go over it. And I thought, well, what do I make with the milk? Oh, I want to make that milk contain some foods that are going to have nutrients that are supplying good nutrition to my brain.
Selenium.
I'm going to get some selenium from these Brazil nuts. Selenium is an amazing antioxidant, plus it helps the thyroid to convert from the T4 to T3, which is the active form, and a lot of people are low in that. And if you don't have good thyroid function, you're not going to have good brain function. You can't, right? So I'm going to put a handful of these in. 2 Brazil nuts contain all the, I think actually 1 contains the full RDA. So I'm going to put in, this is a third of a cup. So I'm going to put like half a cup. Half a cup of Brazil nuts. And I'm going to put a little bit more hemp seeds in there to make a milk.
So when he has a daughter allergic to coconut, is there like a substitute? Like cashew milk.
Anything else? Yeah, any other nut or seed that she's not allergic to.
Milk.
Yeah, sure. Sure. You know, people are going to be sensitive to certain things, and it's just you find an alternative that has what you're looking for when you're looking for an alternative is consistency. So coconut has got a lot of fat to it, but it gets really creamy when you blend it. So what else could do that? Macadamia nuts, cashews, walnuts, not as much because they're not white, but you still can get that. I'm going to put some macadamia nuts in here just for decadence and for creaminess. So I'm going to put about a third of a cup of macadamia nuts in there as well. And then we're going to add water. So I usually go to, I start with a 1-to-1 ratio for this pudding of water to the nut seeds. That's a huge bowl, so I should probably be making a lot more because we're going to serve this in a cup. So I'm going to just double everything. But for your home use, you just make the milk shorter. Let's see. I'll put a little bit more hemp. And I'll put a few more Brazil nuts.
Ooh.
That's way too much.
You know,
Oh, beyond.
The selenium OD.
Toxicity. I'll balance that out with a few more those. And you're basically, there's no rhyme or reason to what you're putting in here. You could put sunflower seeds. Remember we said sunflower seeds have the lecithin for the brain. Pumpkin seeds, they're good in zinc. They're good for the brain. You play with it and figure out what you like the best. But it's just nice to take this milk and pour it over the chia port. You don't have to, but as a dessert, it just has this really nice flow. And then you can chop up whatever fruits. You can put cacao nibs in there. You know, if nothing else, what I want you to get from these classes is that you can play with your food. And you can mix and match things in ways that you never thought possible, and that you don't have to measure. I mean, Scott and I do this all the time. He'll make this dish, and I'll go, oh my God, that was great. You have to give me the recipe so I can share that, or I'll post a picture of something he's made on Facebook, and everybody's like, oh, can you post the recipe? I'm like, Scott made it. There's no recipe. He just came up with it out of his head. You know, and that's the way we do it. And I try to get this down to recipes so that you can have a starting point. But basically, this is a little thick for what I'm after here. So I put more water in. So we overdid because I, wasn't measuring and I did it. But you want to get this to be kind of a light cream consistency, not a heavy cream consistency, right? Not a whipped cream, or maybe a heavy cream that you can pour. But you want it to be able to thin that out. So you can add a bunch of big Now, here's the thing. Somebody asked about coconut earlier, right? I've got this beautiful milk now. So I could take the rice that I made, and I can use part of this to make another milk to make it either the sweet cream, or I could make it into the Thai. It doesn't have to be the coconut. Yeah, the coconut has specific benefits, and if you're allergic to it, you can't get those benefits. Well, get them somewhere else. Some people who are allergic to the coconut can actually take the MCT oil separately if they want to. So now this is a good consistency, and I'll pour it so that you can see. So that's a good consistency, right? So I'm going to just pour, not all of it, but I'm going to pour a bunch of it into this pudding. And I'm going to use a new green one. And I'm going to stir. And there's just something about it when you just take the chia seeds and give it all this beautiful creamy goodness that makes people just like swoon over it. And then if you want some sweetness, you taste it. You see if it needs some sweetness. You can add lohan. You can add stevia. You can just add a bunch of berries to it, depending on your body, your tolerance, and what your body goes for. But if you look at this big thing lately is the bubble teas. They make these bubble teas with tapioca. But when you do this with the chia, what you're going to see is how it looks kind of bubbly, right? It looks kind of like tapioca because it's got that white creaminess floating all in it. And what I would do at this point, because I just make things up, is like, I'll taste it and see what I think. But look at that. Delicious. It needs a little something. I always like to add a pinch of salt to things that are sweet to bring out some of the sweetness without. And that was literally a pinch, right? And ate at most of a teaspoon. I could put a little bit of lemon in there if I wanted lemon. I could put essential oils to flavor it however I want to. I personally like vanilla. Where's my vanilla? I had that here a minute ago. This is the cacao nibs. There it is. And I can put it, good, healthy wallop of that in there. I could put cinnamon in here as well. So it's all just a matter of what kind of flavor I'm in the mood for, what your family tolerates. All of these herbs, foods, nutrients I've talked about today are going to help your brain by supplying antioxidants, by supplying good omega-3 fats, by supplying good proteins. And you can't underestimate the need for proteins for the brain because your neurotransmitters require amino acids. So you have to be able to absorb your proteins. So when you soak your nuts and seeds, it starts the germination process and the breakdown of some of those proteins into amino acids. One of the things you could do with any of these is to add some green stuff. I'm not going to do it to the chia, but I could take a small bowl and I can put some greens in it. And this green has a lot of protein from greens. It's got protein, 16 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons of this. That's a lot of protein, right? That's a lot of protein. So if I were to take another one of these little bowls, and it may not be the thing you're going to serve your 5-year-old because they're going to go green. Or you could serve it to your 5-year-old and you could say, we're having dinosaur pudding tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Let's have dinosaur pudding.
Yeah.
It's going to be green, just like a dinosaur. And I'll put in a teaspoon because it's a small amount, and we'll see how it goes. And it probably isn't going to impact it too much. We haven't put sweetness in yet, so we can always add a little bit of stevia, a little bit of lohan, some essential oils, cinnamon, anything at all. And it looks kind of weird, but you know what? It might actually look good to a little kid. And you go, it's dinosaur pudding, or we're going to have swamp pudding. Let's have some swamp pudding tonight. Yeah.
Like that.
And that's going to need some work. But where'd the stevias go? Okay. So I've got all these different cool flavors. So I'm going to say chocolate swamp pudding. And I can actually put in some chocolate powder. And guess what? Chocolate's good for your brain too. Lots of antioxidants. So I'm going to start with yeah, I know. I was glad to hear that. 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops. We'll see how that goes. We'll stir it up. See if I can make swamp pudding taste good.
Miracle worker.
Yeah. So, okay. So now we'll add some actual chocolate powder if we want to. We don't have to. It needs a little bit more sweet, so I can actually put a little bit more. Play with it. So probably 10 drops is more reasonable. Funny story, we had at our Shine event, which is our annual practitioner live 3-day conference, one of our practitioners has this little son who's like 7 now, but I think he was 6, he's 8 maybe now. He's 6 at the time. And he was into making elixirs. So we actually had a 6-year-old come on stage in front of a room full of health professionals making an elixir and telling us about, well, this herb helps with making you calm, and this herb helps to give you energy, and this herb helps you this. And he mixed this stuff together, and he just kept pouring it in, and I'm looking going, okay. And so he put the water in, he stirred it real well. He goes, but it's going to need a little sweetness. So let me try like 3 drops of stevia. I'm like, honey, it looks like you need a whole bottle of stevia for that. Stevia for that to be palatable? Because I'm like, holy cow. So he put the 3 drops of stevia in. He started drinking it. Yummy, delicious. Drank it down. So it's all a matter of the acquired taste, right? The kid didn't grow up on M&Ms and Cheetos. Much better.
Or McDonald's.
Or McDonald's or any of that stuff. I'm going to put I don't have to, but I can put a pinch of chocolate in there just to see what it tastes like. That is chocolate right now. That's a bit of a You could do that. Make it fudge, you know, swamp fudge. Dinosaur fudge pudding.
You can sell it.
Like no sell it like lemonade on the corner. It's actually not bad. It needs a little bit more help still. I'd probably put a pinch of lemon to cut the bitterness. Not a lot. And maybe some cinnamon, vanilla. You guys can taste it and let me see. That wasn't my purpose, but I wanted to show you that you can fortify things and sneak things in.
And
like I said, it might not be the best for the 5-year-old, but for you as an adult going, hey, I need more of this stuff. I want it to taste good. You can try it. Was the bitter from the greens? The bitter was from the green, yeah. Whoops, a little bit got in my pudding here. Okay, so this one I still didn't sweeten it all, so we're just going to taste it again and see what it needs. One of my favorite stevias is hazelnut, so I can put some hazelnut. It doesn't have enough vanilla, so I put more vanilla. It's a big bowl, so I'm just putting a lot of vanilla. Scott's going to go, I don't think I want to eat that, right? It's too green for me. Now it's smelling more like it. And we have it. You know, this is great brain food. You can start your day with it. Put a pinch of, I really like hazelnut stevia. You have a coconut stevia. You have an English toffee stevia. English toffee. Let's put English toffee. And in this big bowl, I put 2 droppers. And then you can add your cacao nibs. You can add your blueberries, strawberries, all kinds of stuff. What do you think? With that? Oh, you mixed it together. So they mixed it together with the rice pudding. Good. There you go. Great. This is yummy. Needs a tiny bit more. And there we have it. All right. So anything more? There was one other thing I was going to do, but I think we're out of time. Yeah, but one of the things I'll just tell you about it. One of the things I made this last night, and Scott and I ate it. It was yummy. Yes, he's smiling now. And what I did was I took some of the coconut butter that we had here before. I took some cashew butter, actually. So I took coconut butter and it could be cashew or almond butter, and I just mixed them together in a bowl, stirred real hard. That was before we turned the air conditioning on, so it was easy to do. So with the air conditioning on, you may have to put it in the blender. But I blended them up like that. And then all I added was, what did I add to that one? I put in,
Sweet.
I put in a couple of drops of a vanilla stevia or one of the stevias. And then I put in some cacao nibs. Cacao nibs, just pure chocolate. And I put in a pinch of cherry juice extract, concentrated cherry juice extract. And I mixed it up, and then I folded it into these, and I cut them into squares and triangles, and they were yummy. And he's nodding his head. He really liked them. So
A lot more.
you want more? Okay, we'll make more. We're out of time now, but there we go. So a lot more stuff we could have done, but we ran out of time as usual. But enjoy. There's a whole library of stuff. If you're new to Vital Community, I was going to use that in a recipe, but we didn't. I had like 5, 6 recipes that I didn't get to, but I always write more recipes than I know I can get to. But we have lots of shows. So if you're in the Vital Community and relatively new, if you upgrade your membership to premium, you end up paying like half the price per month on average for that. And you also get this amazing library of 5 years worth of these shows. So tons of recipes, tons of videos, everything you'd want to imagine. And if you are not a member, then just go to vitalhealthcommunity.com and you can join us. I really enjoy these shows. Next month, we're keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that I have one of my students, one of my nutritional endocrinology students, who's an amazing chef. She's going to come and join us, and we'll do another show then. So thank you so much. Have a great time. Are there any last questions before I hang up?
Lots of thank yous.
Oh, good. There weren't a lot of questions this time. Last time there were a lot of questions. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.